Hey guys, we're doing a Chapter 8, Section 3 video here if you're in our book and class. Big essential question is how can I measure the space inside of a circle? So we've done some prior videos on circumference, and circumference is the outside of the circle, but area is the inside of the circle, and the strategy of measuring that is different than circumference, so we're going to get into the details of that. So let's talk area for a moment. Imagine you have a circle. Go ahead and draw a circle in your notes to kind of match what I'm drawing. Inside that circle is some space. That's the area. Now, to get into the technical details, if we were to cut that space into tiny little unit squares, each square would add up to give you a grand total of an area. But that's really hard to do. Imagine going in and trying to trace all the squares inside of that circle and get an exact measurement. Imagine how much of a pain that would be on big circles. It's kind of a lot of work. So we've come up with some ways to get around having to do all that hard work. We've come up with a formula. And remember, if you can measure to the center of the circle, we call that the radius. That's the halfway point to the center. Well, using that radius, here is our magical formula. Area is equal to pi r squared. And that is a formula I don't usually say you should memorize very much, but this might be one you kind of want to stick back in your memory bank and remember. Area equals pi r squared. Pi r squared. Pi is that funny little 3.14 number that circles have this great relationship with. And r squared is that radius squared. And we're going to use the formula today in some examples to kind of practice. All right, so let's try a problem. Let's say you had a bullseye target with a diameter of 16 inches. Have you ever played darts before and had to throw darts at a bullseye? Well, that's what I'm talking about here. Here's your dartboard, and your bullseye target has a diameter of 16 inches, and we want the area of this target. So the area is going to be pi r squared. Now let's think about what r is in this problem. What is our radius? Well, if it's 16 inches in diameter, then I guess our radius has to be 8 inches to the halfway point. So our formula, a equals pi r squared, is going to be a equals pi times 8 squared. 8 squared means 8 times 8. Don't make the mistake of 8 times 2 is 16. That's a mistake. 8 times 8 is 64. So we have 64 pi. Now, if I didn't have a calculator, I'd probably stop right now because I'd be stuck. But if I did have a calculator, I would take 64 and times it by 3.14. And if you multiply 64 times 3.14, do it in your own calculator. Make sure I'm right on this. You should get 200.96. Now, what that means is if we traced out little squares inside this bullseye, there would be over 200 of these little square inches. And notice the way I said that, square inches. So I'm going to write my units as inches squared with a little second power. That is my answer, 200.96 inches squared. That is the area of our bullseye. Let's try another one. Check this out. Notice the floor mat that this nice young lady is sitting on the couch putting her feet on. It's in a perfect shape of a circle. How nice. We're going to find the area of that circle. So example number 2 is let's find the area of the floor mat, which has a radius of 2.5 feet, meaning to the center of that floor mat is 2.5 feet. So here's our floor mat. We're going to draw it in our notes. Looks like a circle. Measuring to the center is 2.5 feet. We're going to find the area. Well, the formula for area is pi r squared. In this case, what's r? Oh, it's 2.5. So we're going to take pi times 2.5 squared. Now you need a calculator because you got to multiply 2.5 times 2.5. 2.5 times 2.5 is 6.25. So we have this 6.25 pi, and now we're going to times it by 3.14. 6.25 times 3.14, I believe, is 19.625. And we're measuring in feet, which means inside this floor mat, if we were to trace out some little tiny squares, we would have about 19.625 square feet. So I'm going to write feet squared. And that's our solution. Okay, so you've seen a couple examples. I think it's your turn to try. I'm going to give you a problem here. Find the area of the circle. Here's your circle. Go ahead and Draw in your notes, hit the pause button, and let's see if you can do this with your own calculator and get the right answer. Good luck. Okay, you're unpausing the video. You're ready to check your answer. We've got a nice diameter of 26 inches, which means the radius would have to be half of that, which is 13. So you're going to need to use your calculator to do 13 squared. 13 times 13 is 169. But when you times that by 3.14, you get 530.66. So there is our solution. Now I need to write inches squared. I might have forgot to do that on my software here. Did I forget? Oh, nope, I got it. Whew, good. I don't want to forget my units. Inches squared is our answer, 530.66. Now check yours. I hope you got the same thing I did, but if you didn't, can you figure out where your mistake is? Don't make it again. It's always good to find your mistake and remember not to repeat the mistake. So see if you can figure that out. Also, look at my work. It's so organized. It's very step by step by step. I hope yours is too. I hope you're writing out the formula, the numbers, and the solution all nice, neat, and organized. I'm going to circle that final answer so it's clear too. Okay, another example here. Example 3. Let's figure out the area of this thing. Oh, what do we got? A semicircle. We got a half circle. Okay. Well, we know how to find the area of a circle now. It's pi r squared. So what do you think we're going to do with a semicircle? Oh, we're just going to divide it by 2. We're going to cut it in half, basically. What's the radius in this problem? What's our r value going to be? It's not 8, is it? 8's the diameter. What's the r? It's 4. So we're going to do pi times 4 squared, but then we'll divide it by 2. What's 4 squared? 4 times 4 is 16. So we have 16 pi divided by 2. What's 16 divided by 2? 8. So we got 8 pi. Now if I didn't have a calculator, I think I'd be done. I'd be stuck here. But if you did have a calculator, you'd multiply 8 times 3.14, which is 25.12. So what's the area of this semicircle? Oh, it's 25.12 meters squared. There's our solution. So semicircles are just half of a circle. All you got to do is divide your answer by 2 and you've got your area. Why don't you try one? Let's see if you can do it. Find the area of this orchestra pit. You guys ever been to a big concert before and seen the orchestra pit? The orchestra will often sit down low below the stage. Here's a picture of what it looks like. You can see the stage where the actors are doing their acting. The orchestra pit is a semicircle. Pause the video, hit the pause button right now and see if you can figure this out. Alright, let's check your answer. I'm hoping you are all done solving. We're going to find the area using the area equals pi r squared formula. Because it's a semicircle, we know we're going to divide by 2. Now the radius in this problem, you can see the orchestra pit has a 30-foot diameter, so half of that would be 15. So we're going to be doing 15 squared in our formula. And 15 squared is 225. So we have 225 pi divided by 2. Now 225 divided by 2 is 112.5 pi. Now we times that by 3.14 and we get our final answer of 353.25 feet squared. And there's your solution. How did you do? Did you get it right? Did you make a mistake? What was your mistake if you made one? Go ahead and try to figure that out. Alright guys, so wrapping it up here, area of a circle. Big thing to remember today is that it's the number of square units inside. So all of our answers are things like inches squared or feet squared or meters squared. And we got a handy formula, A equals pi r squared, that does the work for us, which is really nice. So that kind of wraps it up, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.